I kind of agree that if you are a company with the most amount of Bitcoin, at some point you will be in the top 3 companies in the world. Like that, it's almost impossible to play it in any other way. If the execution is okay, if they don't fuck up, or like there's a lot of execution and management and all of those risks associated with every security. So like be safe, be curious, look into it, like listen to the earnings calls, listen to the 10K, like read the 10Ks, 10Qs and all of those things. But that kind of like made it click for me of how I might want to listen to that. I might want to look into that because like Strategy right now is what, a 40, 50, 60 billion dollar company, something like that from the market cap. The biggest company on planet Earth right now, I think it's Nvidia with $45 trillion market cap. That's a long way to go for Strategy. And that's not even factoring in inflation. If we inflate, like I remember the time when the biggest company on planet Earth had like $1 trillion of market cap. Now we have 5x of that. And this was not that long ago because I'm not that old. And so what will be the biggest company on planet Earth in 10 years? They probably have like $20 trillion of market cap. They're probably like 4x of that, maybe probably even more than that, maybe even 30 trillion. And so I can see Strategy being one of the top 5 companies at a market cap of 10 to 30 trillion, depending on how the inflation goes, depending on how hard the US dollar is debasing. There's a lot of questions in there. But without inflation, I can see them reaching like 3 to 4 to 5 trillion dollars of market cap, like with no inflation from today on. And so the opportunity is real. The opportunity is huge. And I do think they have a realistic chance of massively outperforming or amplifying. I think they like the word amplifying more than outperforming, amplifying Bitcoin. And so if Bitcoin goes up 10%, they will go up 20%. If Bitcoin go up 2x, they can go up 2.5x, maybe 4x. And so this is really interesting asset, a really interesting equity that you should at least look into it. Like, don't take my word for it. I always encourage people to study themselves and see the assets, see the equity, see the thing that they're actually getting into it. And also the first thing for very new people, before you look into Strategy, make sure you understand Bitcoin. Because Strategy investment only makes sense if you already understand what Bitcoin is. Because if you believe that Bitcoin is going to zero, all of what Strategy is doing does not make sense to you, obviously. And so that's kind of where I ended up of, oh yeah, like Strategy has probably a place in my portfolio. And I think I've told you this only before we started recording. I've bought Strategy the last, I think, 3 months now, every single week. Like I'm DCAing the same way I did with Bitcoin now into Strategy. I'm still buying Bitcoin also. So I'm kind of splitting my focus to Strategy and Bitcoin. I've played with the thought of selling some Bitcoin to buying Strategy, but I abandoned this thought. I don't want to sell Bitcoin at all. I want to do the same thing as Saylor and Strategy is doing, not selling Bitcoin. He mentioned recently on stage at the Bitcoin for Corporations, he has a degree in hodling. I like to think that I also have that degree after soon 6 years of hodling Bitcoin and not selling, even though I spent Bitcoin because I do have an operating business and I earn and actually spend also in Bitcoin, which I don't count for selling because every month I have more Bitcoin than the previous month. So I wouldn't call it selling if you stack more Bitcoin. So that's kind of my thoughts on why I did what I did and my thoughts on not being binary. The most effective way to buy Bitcoin is to DCA dollar cost average or ECA euro cost average into your Bitcoin position long term with the Relay app. It's the consistency of buying every day, every week, every month that compounds and really builds the position that you want to have in Bitcoin. And for that, I'm using Relay. Relay is Bitcoin only. They do not do any shit coins. They do not do any cryptos, any stocks or anything else. This is a tool, an app, the biggest one in Europe, that is fully focused only and solely on Bitcoin. Relay is also self-custodial. So from the first second onwards, where you buy the Bitcoin on Relay, they are in your self-custodial control. They never have the keys to your Bitcoin. No freezing of your assets, no counterparty risk, no rug pulling whatsoever. And honestly, it's the simplest app that I've ever used in the whole Bitcoin ecosystem. Super easy to set up and super easy to buy your Bitcoin consistently. So set up your DCA and use code Robin to save fees and get cheaper Bitcoin. I want to tell you about something very special to me. It's called MicroStrategy. If you hold your Bitcoin in self-custody, and you should, you know how critical it is to secure your seed phrase. You should not have them on paper. You should not have them on anything else than titanium. With MicroStrategy, you can engrave your 12 or 24 word seed phrase, the entire seed phrase, onto a 1-inch small washer. Yes, just one washer. All 24 words on that one washer. You can hide that thing everywhere. And even better, you don't need to buy a new kit every time you have to get a new wallet. You can make unlimited backups because MicroStrategy is not selling the washer. MicroStrategy is selling the device that stamps the washer. So you get the full kit with the device, with the washers, with the hammer, with everything you need to get started today. And you can make with that unlimited amount of backups. Go now to microstrategy.io. Finally, we have BTC Prague back in 2026. And this year, I'm not only speaking on a panel, but I'm actually going to present an interesting new angle, a perspective, a Bitcoin thesis at BTC Prague this year for the first time ever. I've never done that on any other conference, so this will be a fun one. If you listen to this show on a regular basis, I would love to meet you in Prague this year. It's very high signal, no noise, and Prague is just a freaking amazing city with awesome drinks and a lot of good food. Use code Robin to get 10% off, and if you buy with Bitcoin, you get an additional 5% off your ticket price. I'll see you there in Prague.
I think what people really should know who are listening to this conversation from us Bitcoiners, that there's also this paradox with Michael Saylor and strategy, because I'm writing for the Bitcoin layer, and this side of corporate finance and Bitcoin treasury companies, that's a side that I also cover. So I cover on-chain analytics and Bitcoin treasury companies, and more like the digital credit sphere. But there's this paradox because Michael Saylor is saying don't sell your Bitcoin. And I think a lot of Bitcoiners sold some Bitcoin to buy strategy at high valuations. They lose money and they're upset. Like, Saylor loves Bitcoin. He talks about Bitcoin all the time. So he gets invited on conferences. But like, Bitcoiners is almost the only market he shouldn't, strategy, MSTR and STRC is not for Bitcoiners. It's for all the other people. It's more important for all the other people than for Bitcoiners, because Bitcoiners already have the more superior asset. They're already, like you told, they're already used to withstanding the volatility. They might do self-custody. Like, it's almost the only group of people you shouldn't, and he's not selling it, in my opinion, he's not selling MSTR to Bitcoiners. He just enthusiastically tells about Bitcoin and tells what he's doing with Bitcoin, and other Bitcoiners get enthusiastic as well, and they might sell Bitcoin for MSTR, but he never said MSTR is better than Bitcoin, because he said Bitcoin is the best asset to hold. You should hold Bitcoin. You shouldn't sell Bitcoin. So this is just one thing I also want to point out, because I think if Bitcoiners accept that Saylor isn't really like targeting other Bitcoiners to sell their Bitcoin to buy MSTR, like, it's something that did happen, but I don't think it was his intention. He just told what the company is doing, and people, maybe it was their own decision to sell Bitcoin to get more Bitcoin. But in that process, you can lose Bitcoin. And I think there's a lot of frustration coming from that side. I think if we didn't have that, or maybe if that's subsiding, then there's more room for objectively looking at Bitcoin and strategy as a whole. I don't know what your thought about that.
Yeah, there is so much talk about what someone should do or should not do. If Saylor is a good actor or bad actor, if strategy is good or bad for Bitcoin, I don't care. Bitcoin is for everyone. Bitcoin is an open source protocol. Everyone can interact with it. Everyone can do whatever they want to do with it. It survived the last 16, 17 years of attacks from nation states, from high net worth individuals, from very smart people, and it will survive all the other attacks that will also come to it. It's kind of you can't kill it. Like, we are above the stage of anything being bad for Bitcoin. And so if you think about what Bitcoin represents, think about what Bitcoin actually is, it is that stable asset that is there for everyone, that gives you freedom, gives you sovereignty, gives you everything you need to survive. And you can just do that and have that asset. Like, talk around what is the next best Bitcoin improvement proposal that we have to implement? What is that person trying to sell Bitcoin or strategy to the Bitcoiners? Like, I don't care. If Saylor was able to kill Bitcoin, Bitcoin was never ready to be sound money. Bitcoin was never ready to be the global digital asset, the money for everyone that we thought it was. And so if Saylor for some reason turns out to be a bad actor, which I don't think, will kill Saylor and not Bitcoin. If it's Saylor versus Bitcoin, I bet on Bitcoin every single time. And the same thing Saylor himself is doing. He's betting as big on Bitcoin as probably anyone else. And so it's kind of hard to say now. There's this talk, of course, like he wants to sell his IOU to buy more Bitcoin. How is that different now from all the shitcoins? Because they sold their IOUs or their shitcoins to people and bought Bitcoin with that. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. But if you don't get the difference between some random individual creating a shitcoin in their bedroom and what strategy is doing, then I cannot help you. Like, if you don't get the difference between like Moon Token 123 and what MSTR and strategy represent with stretch and the financial engineering to get a 500 million market cap company to a $50 billion market cap company with 700,000 Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Yeah, it's very simple. So I don't know if this answers your question, but I try to tune out the noise around Bitcoin, around what Bitcoin has to be and how we Bitcoiners have to interact and do. I'm also annoyed by every Bitcoiner has to go to the gym. Yes, I love going to the gym. And yes, I think it's a good idea. And you should go to the gym 100%. But if you're not going to the gym, you can still be a Bitcoiner. And if you're not eating steak every day, you can still be a Bitcoiner. So I think this is tribalism. And I think it's good for Bitcoin. The tribalism is actually good. I think it's something that like people can get behind, and like this is a movement and people want to have belonging to something. They want to be in a group. They want to feel something. And for that, it's good. But for the intelligent investors out there and for the people that think about innovation long term, they just want to have the best asset possible and move on with their life. Don't get me wrong. I love eating steak. It's fucking awesome. I love going to the gym. It's fucking awesome. I love touching grass. I live currently in Vienna and I want to move out to more rural areas of Austria because I miss the grass. I miss the forest. I was born in a village where the forest was right next to me. Like, we had our home and then there was a street about 3 meters, and then there was a forest that was huge. You could never like go through the whole forest in one day because it was that huge, which has its challenges. We had a lot of bugs and a lot of animals in our home because they come from the forest. So it's not all amazing living next to the forest, but it's way better than living into the city. All of those Bitcoin ethos things, all of those like, this is Bitcoin, I agree with like almost all of them. Maybe not with the get sunburned and don't use sunscreen. Like I know all the bad things that are in sunscreen, but protect your skin also. Like if you burn your skin, it will not be good for you. So if you're not using sunscreen, please protect your skin in some other way, because getting burned and getting red on the skin is, I have a very hard time believing that is healthy, but I'm not a doctor, so I might be wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm strongly in favor of all of those things, but I don't think if you're not doing those things or you're not in favor of those things, that you're not a Bitcoiner. You are a Bitcoiner if you hold Bitcoin. That's it. Yeah. There's no other qualification that you have to meet, no other requirements, no other hoops that you have to jump through. Just buy Bitcoin. I think that's a requirement. And even I hate shitcoins. Like I couldn't hate shitcoins more. When Saylor said on the stage recently, Solana and Ethereum, something in me was like, I like it's in my guts where I'm like, I couldn't even like say those words without vomiting. But if you hold 10% of your wealth in Bitcoin and 5% in Ethereum, you're still a Bitcoiner for me. Even though you don't get that Ethereum is a scam and that you will lose all your money, most likely. But yeah, we can disagree on things, and I still like you, and you're still a Bitcoiner, and it's still fine, and you don't have to eat a steak per day.
Yeah, and the thing you said about that Bitcoin is anti-fragile, and like if Saylor is able to kill Bitcoin, then Bitcoin wasn't like the almost the near perfect money that we thought it was. And this reminded me to the Jane Street talk now on X, is like the 10 a.m. slam from Jane Street. They were the guys that like put the price down from $126,000 to $60,000. And I read that James Jack said, like, if this one company can break Bitcoin down, like Bitcoin wasn't the thing that we all thought it was. Probably the company isn't solely like manipulating the price down. Probably people just sold. They had a lot of profit. They just sold, and maybe there are a few trading firms who jump on a trend and maybe exacerbate it, but not are the sole driver of the whole downtrend. And I really share that same viewpoint. And about Austria, my wife and I went to the United States for 3 weeks a few years ago, and we went also to the Yosemite Park, and we could park our RV on the Yosemite camping site. And we saw El Capitan, and it was amazing. But last year, we bought our own caravan and we went to Italy, but Austria is our middle stop because Austria is so beautiful. And I said to my wife, we were on the campsite and we were at Tribhof. There was, I forgot the name from the village, but I said, I think this is more beautiful than the Yosemite Park. And we have this like in Europe, we have this, and it's like Austria is like one gigantic national park, and it's amazing. It's beautiful. So yeah, just want to touch on that point too.
I think just to share a brief story on that, because I have all my business in America and most of my audience is in America. I have all the reasons to move to America, and hey, maybe I do it one day. But one thing that really I would miss is the quality of food, the quality of the food also in the normal supermarkets, the drinking water, the infrastructure, and just the beauty of Austria everywhere you go. You can drive with the car around and it's just like so mesmerizing beautifully. And I didn't get that beauty up until I started traveling a lot. The more I travel outside of Austria, the more I'm like, shit, Austria is fucking beautiful. So I get where you're coming from, but I'm biased. So I'm happy to hear that from someone that is not from Austria, the same thing. But yeah, I'm definitely biased towards Austria. The first thing that every Bitcoiner does, and the most important activity that every Bitcoiner keeps on doing, is buying Bitcoin. And I personally use Relay to buy and sometimes also spend or sell my Bitcoin. And there are two main reasons why I do so. The first one is it's Bitcoin only. They do not do any shit coins. They do not do any cryptos, any stocks or anything else. This is a tool, an app that is fully focused only and solely on Bitcoin. The second one is self-custody. They give you the keys to your Bitcoin the moment you buy them. You never give them the control over your Bitcoin, and you don't have to trust them because you can verify that you and only you have the keys to your Bitcoin. There's no third-party risk. There's no freezing of your assets. There's no rug pulling. There's nothing of that. Download Relay, the app, on your phone, or go to relay.app on your browser and use code Robin to save fees and get cheaper Bitcoin. I want to tell you about something very special to me. It's called MicroStrategy. If you hold your Bitcoin in self-custody, and you should, you know how critical it is to secure your seed phrase. You should not have them on paper. You should not have them on anything else than titanium. With MicroStrategy, you can engrave your 12 or 24 word seed phrase, the entire seed phrase, onto a 1-inch small washer. Yes, just one washer. All 24 words on that one washer. You can hide that thing everywhere. And even better, you don't need to buy a new kit every time you have to get a new wallet. You can make unlimited backups because MicroStrategy is not selling the washer. MicroStrategy is selling the device that stamps the washer. You get the full kit with the device, with the washers, with the hammer, with everything you need to get started today, and you can make with that unlimited amount of backups. Go now to microstrategy.io.